Hello all. So today we'll create one program to work on interactive ALV reports. The previous two sessions we have created ALV reports, one with structure, using structure instead of using field catalog. So we displayed the data in the ALV format. For that we need a data dictionary structure or table reference, which we need to pass in the ALV grid function module. There we don't have any choice of output customization, right? Like changing the field headings or highlight any column, adding hotspots. All these options not possible when we use a structure. Okay, it will just populate the standard text which is available in the data elements as list headings, and the order of the fields will be same as the order of the structure. Okay, whatever the order of the fields maintained in the structure, the output will be displayed in the same order, right? To use more flexibility in displaying the output in proper format, right? What is the option we use? Field catalog option we use. Okay. So by using field catalog, we can customize the ALV report output. We can change the text. We can add hotspot. We can highlight any specific column. We can emphasize it, right? We can also make any specific column as a checkbox or any icon, right? All these options are possible in field catalog. So what is the prerequisite to use field catalog?
Type group.
Type group is required. What is the type group?
Sliss.
Sliss is the type group. Why we use this type group? Because the field catalog reference structures, right, or table type will be maintained in a type group. What is type group?
It is a collection of relevant type structures.
Reusable type structures we can keep in a type group. Also, table types. Table types and type structures and any constants we can keep in a type group so that we can reuse in different programs wherever required, right? To make use of those type structures or type table types available in the type group, what is the prerequisite? We need to add the type group to the program. How can we add the type group to the program? Using type pools syntax. So type pools and the corresponding type group name. Okay. We can also create our own custom type groups. What is the rule when we are creating the type group and maintaining the type structures? What is the rule we need to follow? Type structure name should starts with the which one? Type group name. Okay. So type structure name should starts with the type group name. For example, in general, in the program level, how we define the type structure? Just like we use ty underscore output, like that we define, right? When you want to make it as a reusable type group, when you are defining it in the type group, how you need to define the type structure? Types begin off. For example, sliss is the type group. Sliss underscore output. We need to define the type group like that, right? Type group name, type structure name should starts with the type group name. That is mandatory. Okay. We'll see how to make a ALV report as interactive report. What do you mean by interactive report? First, let's see what is an interactive report. By using some selection condition, we are displaying one report output, right? This first level of report output. In some cases, user expects to display more detailed information about any specific column. For example, there is a column material number. So what is the user requirement? And there is a material value here. For each record, there is a value at 100. Now, user may expect he want an option, or he or she, they want an option to click on this value, this particular material number, so that they should navigate to the transaction code. What is the transaction code to maintain the materials? What is the transaction code?
MB20.
MM01 is to create, MM02 is to change, MM03 is to display, right? These are the transaction codes to maintain the material, right? So what is the user requirement? Whenever he click on the material number, it should automatically navigate to MM02 transaction code, right? They need to open a screen and they should be able to update some material data, right? They should be able to update that corresponding material data in that MM02 and go back to the ALV report again. Should open MM02 and they'll do the corresponding changes. And once the changes are completed, they should return back to ALV report again. And once again, they click on a different material number. Again, it should open that particular material in the MM02 transaction code. And again, they do the changes and go back to the ALV report. They want that flexibility. So what do we call these kind of reports?
Interactive.
Interactive report. Okay, we call this as interactive report. This is option 1 in the interactive functionality. There is another option. So instead of opening that particular value in a corresponding transaction code, user might expect one more ALV output, a different ALV output with more details about the material, like material properties, right? Storage conditions, everything. They wanted to open in a different ALV output. Okay. So this is output 1. This is output 1. This is output 2. Like that, you can create up to 20 levels. You can navigate up to 20 levels in a single program. Okay. First, it will display the level 1 output. Then when the user choose any specific column, right, it will open next level output with more detailed information about that particular column, right, in the level 2. And again, we can add an option to navigate to level 3 of output. So when the user select any specific column in the level 2, we can navigate to level 3 output, or you can call a transaction code. Okay, you can either call a transaction code or open a next level ALV output by using interactive report options. Okay. Here 50% of the functionality is same, to call a transaction code or to display next level ALV report. The concept is same. Okay, only few things are different. Okay, you're not going to learn anything new here. How many of you know subroutines? How many of you know subroutines? No one?
Yes, sir.
Only one?
We know, sir.
Everyone know,
I
right?
know, sir.
How to define a subroutine and how to call a subroutine. How many of you know how to call
I
a
think.
function module? Everyone familiar with that, right? So we're just
Yes,
going to
sir.
create one subroutine and we are calling a function module. Same ALV grid function module or ALV list function module. Nothing new here. Okay. So only thing you need to understand the steps what we need to follow. Otherwise, the concept is whatever the concepts we learned so far, we are going to apply same concepts even for interactive ALV reports. Okay. So let's create a program. Is everyone able to understand why we go for interactive reports? Either we call a transaction code to update that specific value. That might be a material number, sales order number, anything, right? Or we display more detailed information about that specific data, whatever the user selected in a different ALV report. In the program, in the same program, we display different levels of ALV reports. Okay, let's see. Let's create a program on this. Type of the program, executable program. I'll just define one select option. Just create a date of the sales order. What is the data element for created date? Okay, so we created the selection screen again. Follow the same steps. Yesterday, I've explained in detail, right? How we create a new application in any project. What is the process? What are the project management tools we use, right? What are the different phases of development? Okay, and when it comes to program development, don't write the complete program and test it. You need to test the program by each functionality, like selection screen, is it working properly or not? First, let's test the selection screen functionality. Okay, selection screen is working fine. Next level, initialization. What is the use of initialization?
Passing
Passing
default values to the
Default
selection
values.
screen.
So yesterday we have seen how to pass default values. So why we use that selection screen on? I think yesterday one candidate attended the interview. They asked the same question. What is the difference between at selection screen and at selection screen on? At selection screen is to validate all the inputs together, right? So when there is error, all the input parameters will be enabled for input in the selection screen. But when we use at selection screen on, here we can validate a specific input parameter, right? Specific input. So in the selection screen, only that specific parameter with the error will be enabled. Rest of the parameters will be disabled. Okay, that is the difference. It is initial. I wanted to just display the error message. So instead of hard-coded text, use text symbol. I'm just creating text because to save some time, that's it. For instead of this one, use constant, character one. Okay, create a constant for error code. Startup selection, what is the use of startup selection? To implement the business logic. Okay, what are the different types of joins?
Inner join, left outer join, right outer join.
Yeah, what is the difference between inner join and left outer join?
By using inner join, we can select only the common fields between the tables. But by left outer join, we can select all the data from left outer join and only common fields from the right table.
Yes. So when records should be available in both tables, matching records should be available in both tables. Then only if we need to if we need to select the data, then we go for inner join. So when you use inner join, that specific record should be available in table 1 and table 2, that is left side table and right side table. Then only that record will be selected. Otherwise, it won't select record from any table, right? For example, if you take any sales order number 100, that sales order number 100 record should be available in VBAK, and same sales order number with different items, right, should be available in VBAP. Then only that sales order 100 record will be selected. Otherwise, it won't select. If you use left outer join, it will select the header level data. If that sales order 100 is available in VBAK, then it will select the VBAK record. If the record is not available in VBAP, it keep that fields blank. It won't select data from VBAP, but still it will select data from VBAK. Okay, so it will select all the fields, all the records from left side table and matching records from right side table. So when the right side table data is optional, then what type of join we use?
Left outer.
Left outer join. When header data is mandatory, item data is optional, then we go for left outer join, so that it will select all the header data and item data if it is available. But if you use inner join, you cannot select header data also if there is no corresponding item data. Okay. Selecting some net price. So I'm just using these two tables. If you want to have more tables, you can add it. Okay. Okay. And we have added the join condition. You can also add condition here like this. Not only join condition. Like this, you can add some condition, just like where condition, right? You don't need to. So you can also add the condition like this on any of these two tables, VBAK or VBAP fields. Okay. But sometimes it will affect the selected records. So instead of where condition, you can also keep this condition here. And then into table the data of Okay. So instead of table names, right? What we can use? We can also use alias names. We can also use alias names. How can we use alias names? We just comment this. For VBAK, I assign name A. For VBAP, I assign name B. For VBAP, sorry, B only. There are two tables, right? Now, how can you assign these names here? VBAK as A and VBAP as B.
As B.
So you don't need to use the table name. You can use the alias name instead of table name throughout the selection, data selection. Okay, like this. Okay, for our flexibility. Otherwise, there is no other advantage. For our flexibility of, for example, if you are using seven tables or 8 tables in the join, right? So we can assign alias name for the each table, and you can refer to that number, or sorry, that letter in the join conditions. Okay, and there is one more thing here. We can use alias names for the columns. Let me show one simple example. If sy hyphen bars equal to 0, I'll just use CLDEM output quickly. Okay. So when we use this normal select statement, right? How the internal table will be created? Not passing any input. Okay, I've added a validation. We will select input from 2023 and current date 2024. Execute. So how the internal table will be created with which column names? Double click. If you see the internal table, how it is created, VVLN, ERDAT, AUART, it's all using technical field names, right? Same as table, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
In few projects or in few requirements, so we will be asked to create this technical, instead of technical field names, they may ask us to create normal readable names like this, as order, as created date, as order type. Space are not allowed. Okay, instead of technical field names, right, you can now change the field names into normal readable names. Okay, item, as material, as price. Now let's see how the internal table will be created, with which names the internal table will be created. The data selection, the data selection itself change the column names as technical field names to readable names. How it is created? This is the internal table. How the fields created in the internal table with the normal
Mm.
names, right? Instead of technical names, so it is created with readable names, normal names, so that everyone can understand, right? Even the non-SAP person also can understand what is order, what is created date, what is order type, right? When we are sending or when we are creating a service or interface to send our SAP data to external systems. When they are trying to access the data, if they see POSNR or WebLAN, they cannot, it's not easy for them to understand, right? What is WebLAN, what is POSNR? But when they look at these names, order, created date, and item, these names are familiar for anyone, right? So anyone can easily understand what is material column, right? They can easily understand price. If you send this as a NETWR, NETWR means what? They may not aware of it since they don't have SAP knowledge, right? So in few
Yes, sir.
cases, we created objects or internal tables or structures with these general names. Okay. Even when we are creating the data dictionary structures, sometimes instead of technical field names, we use readable names, normal readable names. And data element should be same. For material, field name can be material, but the data element should be Matner only. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Disable the validation. Looks like there is no proper data in 2023. Let me execute without any selection. Okay, the created date is after November, I think. Look how the output is displayed with normal readable names, right? Now,
Yes, sir.
let's build instead of CLM output, right? Let's build the field catalog and ALV report output. When we need to build this ALV report and field catalog,
Display the output with
when we need to execute it, when we need to execute the ALV report output functionality, when there is at least one record in the output internal table, right? Yes or no? So when we need to execute the ALV functionality, when there is at least one record in the ALV output, sorry, output, right? Otherwise, there is no use of executing ALV output. So how can you check that condition? If LT sales data is not initial, then only execute the ALV report functionality. Otherwise, just display some message. So we can just display status message. Okay. It's not an error. Whatever the inputs you are passing, there is no data for those inputs in the table. That's not a application error, right? You can just display some message when no data selected from this select statement. And let's assume there is some data. Then we need to apply field catalog and ALV report functionality. How to define a field catalog? Simply go to function module. What is the function module for ALV reports? We use ALV grid display or list display. Go to import. What is the associate type for field catalog? This one, right? Sys t underscore field cat. Where it is defined? It is defined in the sys type group. It is defined in the sys type group. This is the table type and this is the structure. You can take either table type or structure. Take the structure and go back to your program. Before that, use type rules sys. Include the type group and define work area and internal table. for field catalog. Okay. Now, what is the next step? Populate the field catalog. You can check here in the field catalog structure to know what are the fields. So field name, we'll make it as a key, and what are the other properties we can populate? Add short text, medium text, and long text. What else we need? I think column position. Since it's a numeric field, you can pass numerical value, append, and clear the field catalog. Okay. Sorry. So let's populate other fields. Make sure the column names are in uppercase. External display material. That's called Matner. Okay. This text create as text symbols. Okay. right? It should be 3. It should be 4. There are total 4 columns. Now, what is the next step? What is the next step? I don't want to
To
display all
call
these columns.
another.
I don't want to display all these columns. You need to observe one thing carefully. Call the ALV grid function module. Enable the exporting. We'll remove whatever the parameters we are not using. Callback program sy-repid. It will contains the report program name. I'm not removing this user command, right? I'm not removing this user command include importing parameter, because we are going to use this importing parameter. We are going to use this importing parameter for our interactive report. Okay, for an interactive report option, I'll remove structure field catalog. I need to keep it. I'll remove rest of the parameters because we are not using it now. Enable field catalog. Pass the field catalog internal table. Pass final output data. So have you guys observed any issue here? So we build the field catalog and we are passing the internal table to the ALV report output. Are you expecting any issue here? Yes or no? Is it everything fine? Observe the internal table structure and the field catalog structure. Both are matching or not? Are you guys not following?
It is not matching. So
Which one?
create data.
Okay.
Here in field catalog we are using a personal item
Okay. So why we use field catalog?
to
What is the function?
customize the
To customize the
columns.
report output, right? So this is the actual
Yeah,
internal table structure where we have
yeah,
around 6 columns, 6 or 7 fields. But I don't want to display all of them. Okay, I don't need all of them. I want to display whatever the columns required in the output. So that's why I build field catalog only for these 4 columns in specific order, and I have assigned the order. Which column should display in the first position, which column should display in the second position, and which column should display in the third position. This, right? This is how I'm able to customize the output using field catalog, right?
yeah.
So it should work fine. Order, I'm maintaining my own order here. I'm not following the internal table columns order. I want to maintain my own order to display the output, and I want to maintain my own text. I want to add specific properties to the field. That's why I'm building the field catalog, and I don't want to display all the columns of the internal table. I want to display only specific columns of the internal table in the output. So that is why I did not build field catalog for the rest of the fields, which I don't want to display in the output. So they won't display in the output. Okay. Is there
Okay.
any other difference you have identified? Can we execute the program?
Mm.
Execute. Short dump. Runtime error. Go to error analysis. What is the error? Whenever you execute the ALV report and you see the runtime error, right? These kind of runtime errors. Field symbol has been not assigned yet. The current program has been terminated because it's found a statement that could not be executed. Most probably the issue should be with the field catalog. Okay, the issue should be with the field catalog. Check what are the column names you are using in the field catalog. If you are passing in the uppercase, you need to fix it. You need to pass the column names in the uppercase, like if they are in the lowercase. Okay, make sure you are using same column names which are available in this internal table. Are we doing that? Are we using the same column names like internal table in the field catalog?
We use as alias.
We use alias name. You need to observe this. That's why I'm asking. We have used alias name and changing the column names. But here
Yes.
we are using still the technical field names. Right? That is
Using
why
internal table.
it is giving the short dumps. So since we changed the column names using alias name, here also in field catalog, how can you know what are the columns? Keep a breakpoint here. What is the internal table structure? What are the columns available in the internal table? You need to
As
maintain,
mentioned,
yeah, as per the alias
alias.
names. You need to maintain same column names. Okay. Order, item, material, price. Same, right? Now execute the output. Now we got the output, right? I think I've added key field for other columns also. Now what is my requirement? What is the user requirement? So user wants, there are two possibilities. If user select any of this sales order, when they click on this any of this sales order, it should take them to which transaction code? VA02.
Zero.
VA02. Sales for sales order VA02, right? So they want to open this corresponding sales order number in VA02 transaction code so that they can do some changes in VA02 and save the sales order. They can update some delivery date, quantity, or whatever, right? When they click on sales order number 15, they should automatically we should automatically take them to VA02 so that they can update the data in VA02. Here they can just display the data, but to update the data of that sales order, they need to go to VA02, right? So we can provide that possibility so that they can easily navigate to VA02. Otherwise, they need to open this transaction code separately, VA02, and they need to copy the sales order number from ALV report, and they need to enter the sales order number here, right? And they need to press enter to open the sales order number, and they need to update and save it. Otherwise, right? So instead of doing this, if you provide an option, when they click on it, they should directly open VA02, right? It is very flexible for them, right? Easy to maintain, like huge amount of records. What is the second possibility? When they click on any sales order report, what happens after sales order? What is the process after sales? In general, what is the process happens after sales? Delivery, right?
Yes, sir.
So for example, when they click on specific sales order number, they wanted to see corresponding delivery records created for the sales order. So what are the tables for delivery?
LI,
LIKP and LIPS.
LIP and
LIPS and LIKP is the delivery header table. LIPS is the delivery item table. Okay, LIKP and LIPS. So we need to display next level ALV output with the delivery data when they click on this specific sales order. Okay, so that is the second option, displaying next level output. Okay, that is also possible. So first let's see how to create a next level ALV report, because you are already familiar with that, creating a ALV report. For that, what we need to do? We need to create one subroutine. There are other options like headlines. By using headline selection, we achieve interactive ALV, right? But the simplest way available is using user command option in the ALV report. Here, we have a importing parameter, right? User command. What is the input we need to pass for this? A subroutine name. We need to create a subroutine, and we need to pass that subroutine name to this in importing parameter user command. So create a subroutine here. After this, how to define a subroutine? Can you tell me how to define a subroutine?
form and endpoint.
Perform.
Can we define subroutine here? Form. Can we define it
No,
here?
no, we
Line
can't.
number 89? No, because we should keep subroutine definitions after all
All
executable
executable
statements, right?
statements.
So let me define a subroutine. Form, assign some name, user. I'll take same name. You can take any name, but I'll use the same name. Okay, you can take, otherwise you can take any name. Using, there are two importing parameters we need to pass for this subroutine. There are two important parameters. One is, how can we know, or how can the program know user selected the value, any column value in the ALB output? User can select any of the different buttons, right? User can select activate, user can select save button, user can select back button, user may select cancel button, right? User may double click on the different column, but how can we know user selected the ALV output instead of any of the other menu items? How can the program know? So once the user click on any value, then only we should trigger this interactive functionality, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
For that, we use a special variable called ucom. For example, p underscore. You can take any name, but the type should be sy hyphen now. What is sy hyphen ucom? It's a system variable which handles the actions, button actions. If you click on activate, there should be an action for this. There should be an action code for this. If you click on the execute, there should be an action code for this. If you click on the ALV output, there should be a action code for that. What is the action code for ALV output selection? And IC1 and IC1. This is the code for ALV report output value selection, so that we can identify user selected the ALV output value. Okay, you need to define this parameter. Then what is the next input we need to display the next level data? We need to know what is the value that user selected, right? For example, how can we know that what is the sales order number that is user selected? When the user click on that, the program should read that value, whatever the value selected by the user. How can you know that? For that, we have a special structure which is available in the slice, That is a selection field structure. Selection field structure. You can search for this selection field structure in a SLIS type group. Otherwise, the type group, that structure for the selection field is a SLIS underscore selection field. SLIS underscore SEL field. You can search for this in type group, SLIS type group. This one. This is the type structure available in SLIS type group. What are the fields available here in this type structure? Tab name. Tab name nothing but it will capture the internal table name. Value means whatever the value selected by the user. For example, if they selected material 100, this value will maintain that material 100. You will be having a column name. What is the field? What is the field they selected? Is it matter, order, or order item? So all this data will be captured into the selection field structure. That's why we are defining this selection field structure to identify what is the value selected by the user and what is the technical field name of that column. End form. We created the subroutine. Inside the subroutine, what we need to do? We need to write the functionality to navigate to the next level ALV output. Before that, what is the functionality you wanted to select? What is the column you want to enable interactive option? I want to enable it for material data. So when the user selected any specific material, I want to display, for example, purchase order data. Purchase orders created for this material. In the next level ALV output, I wanted to display purchase orders created for this ALV output. Sorry, this material number, this corresponding material number. Okay. So for that, what is the prerequisite? To create the interactive report, we need to add hotspot. That is the first thing we need to do. Where you can add the hotspot? In field catalog. Okay. In field catalog, you can enable hotspot option for any column. Can we add hotspot for multiple columns in the same output? Sorry?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. You can add any number of columns as interactive. Okay. You can add multiple columns. You can enable interactive option for multiple columns. That you need to handle in the subroutine. Which column the user selected and what is the corresponding functionality you need to execute. So I've enabled hotspot for the material. Now what I need to do here? Before going to write any functionality, first pass your subroutine here. What is your subroutine name?
One.
User command. That is a subroutine name. Okay. You can take any name here. Not only user command, you can take any name. And these two parameters are mandatory. What is the use of ucom?
User action.
To get the user action. What is the option they selected? Did they selected the ALV report or did they selected any menu option? That we are going to identify here. When we need to trigger this interactive functionality? When user selected the ALV report output, right? That we can identify by using which option? If what is a variable we have taken p underscore ucom equal to this one. IC1 is the action for ALV report output selection. Okay, then we can make sure that user selected the ALV report output. Then only we need to execute the functionality. And what is the functionality you want to execute? So when user selected any specific value in ALV report, I want to make use of that value to display the next level output. To understand what is the value that is selected by the user, let me keep a breakpoint here so that you can understand how it will read the value into selection list field. I kept a breakpoint here. Execute. Not passing any input so that it will select all the records. Now, hotspot is enabled for material number. Yes or no? And symbol is displaying, right? That means
Yes, sir.
hotspot is enabled. Now click on any material. For example, I am selecting this truck 01. Click on this. Debugger is triggering. That means your interactive report option is working. What is the UCOM selected? Will be read into PUCOM. What is the UCOM value? IC1. That means user selected the report output. And what is the value that is selected by the user? Where you can check that? In selection field structure. Double click on selection field structure. Double click on here. What is this tab index? On which record we selected? Second record, right? We selected on the second record from the table, right? That ALV table, right? That's why tab index is 2 because we selected the second record. What is the selected field? Material number. Material. What is the value we selected? This is the actual value. We need to take it as an input. Okay. This is the material value. Field name. If you want to know the field name, you can take this field name as a input. Okay. Now here, then one more if statement. If what is a ls underscore field hyphen name equal to material, then what is the functionality you need to execute? You need to handle different interactive options here. Else if they selected sales order number, sorry, it should be as it is here. Order. What is the functionality you need to execute? If the user selected a sales order number, right? You need to implement that functionality using conditions. Okay. Now let's assume user selected material number. Then what we need to do? Then write one more select statement here. Select. What is the purchase order table? What are the tables for purchase orders? What is the header table for purchase order? EKKO, EBLN, EKKO, Lifner, EKPO, EBELP, EKPO, partner, EKPO, net price from EKKO, inner join, EKPO on EKKO EBLN equal to EKPO EBLN to table. And what is the where condition? Where EK, what is the where condition? What is the common field? What is the input field for us here? Material value, right? So we want to use that material value to select the purchase order data. So in which table we have material value? EKPO, right? EKPO Matner equal to which one we need to take? Selection field hyphen value, because this is the field that contains the user selected value, right? Yes or no? Completed.
Yes, sir.
Then what is the next step? To display the next level ALV output. If sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, then what we need to do? What we need to do here? After data selection, what is the next step to display the ALV output in the next level? Again, build the field catalog. Again, build the field catalog for the second level output. Okay, what are the fields we need to take here? EBELN. Okay, I'll keep as it is as order. Item I'll keep as it is. I'll just change the field name EBELP. Matner. I'll just take one thing you need to do before populating field catalog for the second level output. What you need to do? You need to clear the previous field catalog which you have already populated for sales order data. Here you are displaying, here you are building field catalog for a different ALV report, right? Before that, clear that internal table. Otherwise, create a different internal table for this purchase order data field catalog. So for this purchase order data, create a different field catalog, one more field catalog with a new internal table name. Otherwise, clear LT underscore field catalog. Clear the field catalog before populating purchase order related data field catalog. Okay. Otherwise, the output won't display properly. Okay. EBELP. Yeah. I want to display these 4 columns for the purchase order data by using user selected value as input. Is everyone clear? Then what is the next step? Call the ALV report. Rest of the things are common. Callback program, sy-repid, user command. You need to, if you want to display third level ALV, you need to keep it. Pass the field catalog. I'll remove rest of the columns and pass the output tab. That's it. That's it. If the data matches, it should display second level ALV. So enable the exceptions. Pass the output tab here. PO
Sir, you are
data.
in mute.
Sorry. So enable the exceptions and pass the output internal table. And you need to build the field catalog as per this output internal table. I think I need to change this, right? We are not using alias names in the PO data, right? We are not using alias names. That's why NETWR. Activate the program. If you need to display third level ALV, identify the column which you want to make it an interactive report, right? And add a hotspot option for that column and create one more subroutine here. After this subroutine, create one more subroutine, and implement the functionality same like this. Okay, clear? And you need to add that subroutine here. User command 2. User command 2. That subroutine you need to create here. Second subroutine, similar to this. Whatever the functionality you need to check, add SciUCom and selection list. Okay, read the value and execute the next level ALV output or call any transaction code. Like that, you can navigate up to 20 levels in the same program. Okay. Now let's execute the program. Now, when this interactive event will trigger, when user click on any specific material number. If I click on this, it won't trigger. If I click on this, it won't trigger. But when I click on this material number, it will trigger that interactive option. But before that, we need to make sure there is data, matching data available in the sales orders and purchase orders. There are different material numbers, right? We need to identify few purchase orders with the matching material number. Let's try to copy these materials and trying to find some test data. EKPO. I'm selecting material number as input option. Copied materials I'm populating here. So what is the material we can select? RM1CP, because the same material number is being used to create sales order, and there are records for the purchase orders also for the same material number. So what is our expectation? If we click on RM1CP, it should display next level ALV output with the purchase order data, right? So this one, right? RM1CP. Click on this. It is displaying next level output, right? With purchase order data. Yes or no? This one is purchase orders. These are the purchase orders. Okay. Go back. Or if you want to differentiate, I'll add PO. Okay. PO item. First, it is displaying the sales order related data. If you click on any material number, it is not showing any data. Why? Looks like there are no purchase order records created for this material. That's why it is not able to select anything. We can add a message there. Okay, we can add a message. If sub RC not equal to 0, display a message. If we click on this, no data available. If we click on this RM1CP, since purchase orders are created for this RM1CP material, in the next level ALV report, we are able to display some data. Again, you can add a hotspot for any of these columns. And when you click on this, for example, purchase order number 60, you can navigate to the next level outputs, next level ALV output. Okay, like this, you can build up to 20 levels. This is one ALV option. What is the other option? Calling a
To go to
transaction code.
transaction code.
Calling a transaction code. For example, if you click on specific material number, it should open MM02 transaction code like this without any manual interaction. RM1CP, right? Underscore CP. It should directly open the transaction code. No interaction should happen. It should directly open the screen. Whenever the user click on the data, it should directly open the screen without any manual interaction. And user can update the value, just doing some changes and save it, and go back to the ALV report, right? It is very flexible for them to access data in a transaction codes without manually opening the transaction codes. Okay, we can display the report with specific selection criteria, and they can see the data here, and they use that interactive option to open that specific record in the transaction code to update the values. That is the second option. Okay, that we'll see in the next session. So before that, practice how we can display different levels of ALV reports. Is there anything new here? Only thing new here is what are the two importing parameters we need to define for subroutine, that is UCOM and selection list. Only those two are the new here. And you learned that new function code, the SciUCOM code, IC1. Only these three are the new here. Rest of the concept is same, right? So please try to create a program using interactive option. Only thing you need to identify is test data, right? So you need to identify common records between first level display and second level display. Okay, you should be able to identify some common data. Okay.